That's my proof copy. So
How did
yeah.
how did the book idea come about?
Oh, how did the book idea come about? Well, God told me some secrets, and I had some experiences, and I thought I should share them.
So, talk to me a little bit about the process of not only the beginnings of getting of so when you have the idea for the book, it's a long journey, and it's a longer journey when you get in, you have to promote it. Talk to me about the entire ride. What has this ride been like from the idea of having it to actually having it in your hands and seeing it happen?
Because it's my second book, I stepped into it with a lot more fear and trembling because I knew how much work was ahead of me.
So give me an idea, give me kind of a synopsis of the book. For anyone out there that's curious and they want to dive in and they want to get it, how do you pitch it? What's your elevator pitch to get people to buy the book?
What's my elevator pitch? Can I answer? Can I put a question out there for
Yes,
you?
please.
Okay. So, as I said, I took some secrets and experiences that were between God and now I'm sharing them, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So, I absolutely love sports coaching coaches quotes. I love them. They just speak my language of get in your face. This is the issue. What are you going to do about it? And who are you called to be?
Yeah.
I love them. And so I had my list of all my famous coaching quotes, and all of a sudden I wrote an introductory, and geez, that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And then the story came about. But one of my favorites, and I know that you're going to recognize this, is from the legendary coach Bobby Bowden. He
Yeah.
once said, for a team to truly have a great year, something has to change. Something has to happen that simply cannot be coached.
Yeah.
It can't be. I mean, for it to be, it has to be outside of what you've experienced.
Yeah.
So you're a sports writer and you've seen thousands of plays. You're a creator yourself. You're a poet.
Yeah.
Have you witnessed when God steps onto the table and changes what we had currently experienced, and he just goes and changes the platform, changes your table, changes how you think about life, how you write things, how you communicate.
I'm gonna answer that in two ways. First, I'm
Okay.
gonna answer it in a sports way.
Yes.
In Kansas City in 2014, we had gone through 30 years of no championships and no playoffs, nothing
Mhm.
happening. And that 2014 team comes in and we all think it's cute. They're going to play one playoff game. All right, we clinched it in Chicago. We're going to come home and we're going to play the A's. And if we just have a good outing, great. But we pulled off a miracle. And then we ran all the way to game 7 and almost won the World Series that year. And something happened. There was actually in the lore of that team, there was a speech one of the players gave everybody. And it's funny that you're saying this right now because I just interviewed someone in Iowa and they're like, what do you think about the Royals this year? And I said, I don't get it. Like all we wanted was good pitching and they got good pitching and now their bats, they got a great lineup. They can't do anything right now. It's not happening. I said, do they all need to go out and have a drink after a game one night and bond and come together in a certain way? Do they all have to have some magical experience like this? But Bobby's totally right. There's something about the architecture of a team that needs to be more than glue. It needs to be emulsified in a way, and it's the same thing for anybody. And so I want to segue real quick and ask you this. And we may have touched on it before, but I want to get into it a little bit more. When you grow up in like the Midwest, for instance, and you're in the Bible Belt and you're in kind of a spiritual kind of community and and the Bible's there, the church is around you, and you're getting taught all of these things. You're getting kind of indoctrinated. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying it's a part of your diet. But you
Mhm.
as a human being need to have some level of proof that God exists, some level of empiricism, the magic that you're talking about. So in your walk, what was the first time that you felt that there was absolutely undeniably a God that existed?
Because I felt forgiven.
Yeah. When was that?
29, 30.
Okay.
Had two boys so far on the ground. That's farm talk on the ground, like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But what see how you explained it from the Bible Belt, that is because I'm out here in Oregon.
Sure.
We have a little bit of different atmosphere out here, but the faith of my fathers came directly from that Bible Belt.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yes, so that's everything I knew, everything that I was taught, and that is the same, can I say, religious poo that I questioned.
Yep.
And I say that with the highest honor and respect. But when you start to question, why do I believe this?
Yeah.
Shaking it out.
Sure.
Then you get in the face of God and he says, okay, I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you. We're going to get to the nitty gritty and to the truth.
That's it. That's the bottom line. It's that split of the zygote between what I've been told, what I've been taught, what I've been like marshaled to believe, and what me as an individual is going to experience my own. So when I was growing up,
Hmm.
my best friend growing up, his name was Matt, and he had liver issues, and he was always in and out of a children's hospital. He would come in and he would have an IV and he would plug it in and he would take in his fluids, and it was just we were just kids. I didn't think about it. It's like animals don't feel remorse for themselves. They just go. They just keep going. And that's the way we felt. Like he didn't want me to feel a certain way, but we were kids. And he ended up dying when I was 16, he was 17. And I remember that was my first real experience with feeling like deep, deep death. Like, what is that like? And how do you rebound from it? And how do you process it? And years later, I would always have these dreams of being in the childhood home with him. And I was like, you're not alive anymore. And he never, I don't think he ever answered the question, but we always felt like we were together. And then one time, somewhere in my subconscious, I said, I'm going to ask him this one question. And I asked him, what does God feel like? And all of a sudden, I was over a lake, okay? And there was these ropes that went in the sky that didn't attach to anything. And I was on this like wooden plank, and I went over the top of a serene lake early in the morning, and my big toe barely skimmed the top of the lake, and I was out. And I've never seen him since.
Have you
I,
asked him another question?
I've never seen him. I've never seen him since. Like that was almost on some spiritual roulette wheel. I threw everything on seven. And I said, I'm going. I'm doing it. I'm going for the house. And that's what happened. So when I talk about those personalized experiences, that was one of those times where it was undeniable in every fabric of the life that I had lived up to that point, that I had this person that left early, and I just wanted to know what God felt like because I'm sure I knew that he knew that. And
Hmm.
when we're on this other side and we don't know for sure, and I come from Missouri, the show me state, we want some level of empiricism. We're hoping for it, right? So that
Ah,
was it. That was one of those moments.
yeah, one of those great moments.
Yeah.
But if we put the question on the table, have you ever asked, is he really what you would call dead?
Oh, no, 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 no.
No,
No.
no.
That's, yeah, that's an interesting way of putting it. No, and I remember running into his mom. I used to work in a grocery store. I remember running into her and I said, I'm going to charge a little bit harder in life because I'm going to live for him. Because I knew that he wasn't going to be able to do all of these things
Hmm.
that he wanted to do with his life because he was so young. But no, that's interesting because I don't know that I've ever asked that about many people that have ever left me. You know, my dad left me relatively early in life,
Mm.
and I've seen him in some dreams as well. But yeah, that's an interesting question. Uh,
Well, it's a really good question to ask. Now, I have had a few encounters like that with people, and in my book. I'm going to go in my book because that's where I got brave enough to say, okay, what we were taught is not exactly correct about the audacious goodness of God.
Yeah.
It's just not correct. And if I keep it to myself, what does that how does that serve?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What we learned and what we were taught it's just it's God is so much gooder than our current bandwidth about him. And we need to address that question every time a circumstance is presented in front of us. Well, God, how good are you in this circumstance?
I remember seeing Ethan Hawke on one of these late night shows. I believe it was him, and they were asking him. He's a pretty deep guy in a lot of ways, and they were asking him about his concept of God, and he touched on something that I've always kind of felt. I believe that since we only use 5 to 10%, 10 to 15%, very low bandwidth of our brain power, I think sometimes the idea of a spiritual deity and God is so grandiose that we're just trying to stay above the surface to understand what true spirituality is, what living a spiritual life, what experiencing all of that really means down here. Do you ever think about that level of how enormous it is and how we're all just kind of children playing in a field of flowers hoping for a miracle?
Okay. I have, what is this? It's a Four Roses small batch select. It's a tiny little, I don't know if it's whiskey bottle. We save those. My husband and I save them, and so I'm showing you a tulip,
Yeah,
a white tulip that has little pink fringes on it.
yeah,
When I got up this morning and I sat down at my desk, that tulip was completely closed.
yeah.
And then I got here, I talked to God, I reran what we talked about before, pulled some questions from it, and went, it's open. It's not outside, it's not exposed to the sun. It has
Sure.
been cut from its life source, it's put in water. How does it continue to know to open and when? That is in the DNA of the flower.
But also, I've heard that our level from a physiological, biological standpoint, we as humans emit light. If we're alive and we feel life, we emit an energy and a light. I mean, at a minimum, our spinal column has enough electricity for a bolt of lightning. So your light, who you are, your
Mhm.
zeal for being awake and alive and getting in front of a microphone and experiencing people and this planet is probably also a part of that flower feeling what you're putting out too.
That's a great comeback. I like that.
So let me ask you this.
Go
A
ahead.
year ago, I don't know if we delved into this that much, but I'm curious, and I've been asking people this a lot. There's a lot of ways that our country and what's going on right now has fallen over a cliff. There's a lot of people that are getting marginalized. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of things that are happening right now. Is that dinging your hope? Is that taking any toll on the way that you live and view this reality?
Does it ding my hope? It actually challenges me in humanity,
Yeah,
believing in the goodness of humanity, and that's where I get challenged. But the type of person I am, the type of person that you are, where we ask questions and we're sifting for the truth and will not settle until it has arrived and we've experienced it. So that's unerasable from our conversation. That's what gave me the courage to write my second book.
yeah,
Because if people don't know, whether in ignorance or actually in searching, because God is gooder. I mean, that's my coined word, gooder. Okay, let's put some apostrophes around it.
sure.
But if we don't know, if we don't ask, Who's going to tell them? Who's going to show them? Who's going to stand up in history and be a radical? Who's going to step outside the faith of our fathers and ask? And in turn, when you ask and you get an answer, and then share the answer, and then take that answer and let it apply in your life and see it start touching people's lives and healing people's lives, even if they don't know your name.
Yeah, right. And we have all kinds of examples of that from like even childhood. Like I mean, just those people that saw that spark in you before you knew you had it, you know? And you may not remember their names, but those were the figures in the narrative
Mm.
of our human tapestry.
Well, to be quite honest here, I don't have a lot of memories of those kind of people because I was so challenged with dyslexia
Right.
before it was something that was identified. I what used to go around in my head is everything that was written on my report card. She
Yeah.
doesn't apply herself
Yeah. Yeah.
because they didn't have the wherewithal or the answer to say, maybe what she's struggling with here is not that she's not applying herself.
Right.
But that was written everywhere.
Yeah. Hmm.
So what are you going to do? What am I going to sit there and be okay with that when I know who I am? I know how I respond. I know that I'm loyal and faithful and people trust me and I'm a great mom. You got to change the label.
Yeah. Well, and it's about awareness too. My son's on the spectrum. He's 21. So I've been in the autism spectrum, the special needs world for quite a while, and there's a lot of different levels of awareness and help and therapies that exist. I remember, and I didn't realize that this till later on in my life. In fourth grade, I had an IEP for reading, an issue with reading. And I don't think they did anything other than send me to summer school, and I didn't get to do anything. So when you're
No.
talking about dyslexia and all these other things way back in the day, and they didn't know what to do with it, it was putting a band-aid on a gusher.
Right. They do. They just send you to summer school and they send you to the reading class with your 2 and 3 grades of below you peer and makes you feel really good about yourself.
Right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely. So let me ask you this, in the realm of podcasting, being in this podcasting world,
Mhm.
do you find that to be a therapeutic healing realm for you to process what we're living through in this life right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I tend to be, I think and I talk at the same time, and it helps me to process what I'm going through. And I always have the same realization if I am walking through this, oh, there's a huge atmosphere of people that are also walking through this.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that I enjoy about being in this world of podcasting is that sometimes as humans, one of the worst things is to feel alone, as though
Mhm.
you're not in a community of people that are kind of trying to figure these things out. But when you get in this world, you realize we're all swimming in the same kind of ocean, so to speak, and we're all trying to figure these things out,
Mhm.
you know?
Well, okay. Are we actually all trying to figure these things
No,
out?
right. No, no, no. I get it. I get, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right, right, right. It's
Are we all? I meet a whole lot of people that I don't think are questioning that at all.
And I think that's one of the problems with specifically things that we're seeing that are happening in this country right now is that there is this level of just kind of letting the waves take you back,
Mm.
not providing any level of like discovery or wander or wonder. It's just you're just kind of surrendering to the forces, you
Yeah.
know? And
People
then,
usually don't like to ask me political questions because I always have this real simple phrase and it's kind of like, well, if my neighbors voted for a person, you always got to come back to the vote. What are you signing your name to? about, are you signing your name because you want to get something for it? Or are you signing your name because you know that that is the core value and the truth that you stand for?
Right.
And did you do your research?
Yeah.
Did you actually, shake it a little bit and see if anything fell out before you signed your name to it?
True. Yeah.
I can't go and complain about laws or politicians or what's going on if I'm not willing to follow through what I've been called to support, what I've been called to open my mouth over.
And I think the other part of these politically divisive times we live through is, I have a neighbor across the street that totally voted different from me, but I'm not going to get into it. We're not going to talk about it, and we're going to go on and we're going to coexist. And I think that if you want to be an example to anybody to try to convince them maybe of your side, probably just being a good human being would be a good way to begin, right?
Can we say this again, please?
That's it. Because if you start getting, I mean, there's just so many people and relationships that are getting severed. And why? Like, it's not going to do any good. It's not going to help anything. And it's not going to change anybody's minds. You know, it's the irrationality of it won't bring anything rational. That's
Mm-mm.
just all there is to it.
Mhm.
So, where can people pick up your book?
My book is available at any of your fine retailers. Did I say that?
And then on your website, and I mean, they can
Oh, they can
order plenty.
purchase it from me and
Okay.
I'll sign it and all that kind of
Okay.
that good stuff.
Good
Yeah.
deal.
But it is a a great I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of it. Can I went to the end of the book today in preparing to talk to you. I went to the end of the book because there are people that like to go to the end of the book, tell me the skinny, how's it going to turn out? And my very, very favorite quote, I firmly believe that any man's finest hour, the greatest fulfillment of all that he holds dear, is that moment when he has worked his heart out in a good cause and lies exhausted on the field of battle,
Yeah.
victorious.
Yeah.
Vince Lombardi.
Yep. Yep.
We could just talk about that. Are we living our finest hour? Are we pushing into our finest hour?
Yeah.
Are we willing to exhaust ourselves on the field of battle to arrive and actually portray our finest hour as human beings?
I was thinking about this last night right before I was going to sleep. It's like when you go to bed at night, how tired are you? And it's in those small little segments. Are you so tired that you just literally you got to I mean, it's like that's it. Like, how hard are you running? Like, when you get to the other side of 50 and you start realizing you're on the other side of everything, you got to just take it all in. You got to go to that buffet and try what you may not like. You got to get in there and do it.
But can we ask the question on the timeline? I asked it in the book. You're going to have to go read it.
Yeah.
But I asked that question by my history and experiences with Christ. If he seriously I mean, let's put an if, totally human, laid down his deity. So that gives me great hope because if he isn't totally human, then everything that he accomplished, every parable, everything written in scripture is bogus
Yeah. Yeah.
because he has to be human, completely human, and he had to learn everything. He had to learn how to have a relationship with Father God. He had to learn how to tune in. He had to learn about questions, and he also had to learn about himself, which was written all over the Old Testament.
Yeah. For sure.
He had to learn how to walk on water. He had to learn that he knew that he could do that. He had to learn that what he was called to do and to be and to give to us, that he could overcome what we were made from, the
Yeah.
dust of the earth. So I come back to that past the 50 mark. Are we okay with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we challenge that a little bit? because Christ died for us, and he continually says that it's finished, overcome, forgiven, innocent, death and decay, sin, sickness, whoop, done. How much of done is done or all?
Yeah.
You can get me on my soapbox here.
No, I love it. I love it. And I'm glad I'm glad you pulled that full circle. So I'm going to put links in the show notes. I wanted to give everybody a good flavor of the book and our passion and a little bit of our vision. So it's great to catch up with you. Maybe we should do this another year down the line. We'll make this a tradition and catch up with everything that's going on. We'll keep the conversation going.
I have another baseball story in the queue, but I can't tell it yet.
Okay. I love it. I love it. We'll pick it back up next time. I love it when the ellipses is there. So thank you again. It was so great to see you. Best of luck on the release, and we will talk down the line.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.